as students prepare to intensify their efforts this year, we're now joined by a former student activist, Wandile Ngaweni, who was part of the protests in 2016. Wandile, good evening and thank you so much for your time tonight. Firstly, what has it been like for you over the last year, watching, or rather over the last week, watching these protests take place?
Well, you know, it's been sad. It's been particularly sad because we protested against the exclusion of black students in higher education for a number of years during Fees Must Fall. And we thought we had won victories, and we thought that we were fighting for the next generation. And our hope was that the next generations would not have to deal with police brutality and to deal with exclusion in higher education. So it's really, really sad.
Many people have been speaking about how just witnessing the events of the past week has also been quite triggering for them, because it brought to the fore again the kind of violence that they experienced from the state. And we now know through commissions such as the Zondo Commission of Inquiry that there may have been work done by intelligence forces as well to undermine the protests that were planned by students.
Indeed. You know, I was speaking to a number of friends of mine who some of them have gone, of course, finished studying. Others, some of us are now working. Others are still studying abroad and domestically. And they are saying, you know, there's a triggering thing that happens to all of us, especially angering trigger. I mean, I even spoke to my parents who were saying, you know, I didn't think that what you went through during that time and the anger we had, even now that our kids are still going to be struggling with this. So it's really a huge, huge shame that we have to go through this over every year. I also think it indicates an incompetence from government, especially from the Ministry of Higher Education and Training. It can't be that every year the minister has to struggle to deal with one issue. It can't be that this issue results in psychological, and now we've lost a life, you know. So it can't be. Something has to change, and we are wary with this particular protest that it will also be infiltrated by agents of the state. But we are confident that the students now leading the struggle will be able to deliver on promises and force government to deliver on promises that it had promised in 2016.
Wandile, you've had an opportunity to also, I suppose, see how some of the story unfolds, right, beyond just you being in university. Speak to me about the impact of the issues that you were taking to the streets about.
You know, so in fact, the impact of 2016 and I guess the resulting good that came out of it is that some of my friends and of course some of the people who were and I guess students benefited a lot from the announcement of free education by the former president at that point in time. It also gave some reprieve to students who would then follow, knowing that as long as they deserved to be in varsity, they would have a form of funding, and they would be guaranteed by the states that they would be funded should they need to be. And so now to students who would, I guess there's knowing that with parents alike, students alike, and rightly so, because it is a reversal of promises. And I was reading today's newspapers, and it's very clear that the ANC in its policies also in its 53rd and 52nd conferences pronounces free education. So now for ministers to to come and say stories and say there needs to be going.
Wandile, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. Apologies for the poor quality audio there. Wandile, rather, Ngaweni, is one of those that was at the forefront of the previous Fees Must Fall protests.